wanted to have a quick quote about sub-franchising. Don't talk to me about sub-franchising. We're making so much money in sub-franchising, and it isn't even funny. It's one of my favorite lines, throwaway lines from that film.
It is funny because both movies have such discussion about finances and business that I'm like, I can really relate to it over this last week with all the numbers I've been crunching. So.
Same.
Well, look, I got a loan to the bank to the loan, and I'm paying off the. Yeah, okay, motherfucker,
okay,
I get it.
So I can get this, so I can pay off my life insurance, so I can take out a thing on that. Yeah, okay, fine. Just say no.
Welcome to Season 3 of Talking Pondo. Talking Pondo is a podcast where Clif and Marty give each other a film to watch and talk about them in detail. Some episodes will include a special guest. Bases Loaded will not be seen tonight, so we may bring you the following dingus. Happy New Year, everybody. It's our New Year episode of Talking Pondo. We're back once again. It's me, Marty, and we got Clif as well with us.
So, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome back.
Doing our what's turned into a yearly New Year's special where we pick 2 New Year's related movies. And boy, those are kind of hard to find, but we found 2 good ones this week, The Hudsucker Proxy and Sunset Boulevard.
Yes, indeed.
So we'll be talking about those real quick like here, but first we're going to do some Mathal mail.
Oh, guys, awesome. We always love the mail, folks, so keep writing in. And by the way, Talking Mathal was quite an episode. I really, really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, it was good. It was a change of pace. Even Joe wrote in and said, thanks for inviting him along on the ride.
Oh, he was great. He was a fun host. You could tell he had done some research. And one of my favorite things is I think several times we were all both like, yep, I got that note. Yep, I got that note too. Yep, I got that note.
So this week's viewer mail comes from Dan Campbell.
Really?
Yeah. He mentions Charlie Varick, one of his favorite movies from around 73. That one keeps getting brought up, so very possible that could be on.
I think that's probably going to be on the next Talking Math.
Yeah. If not the next, definitely a future installment of Talking Math Al, because there's just so many good ones to choose from, and probably bad ones as well.
Yeah, well, we talked about it on and after that episode, and we're like, he's got enough filmography that we can easily do 3 or 4 of these Talking MathAls, and not even and it hit any bad movies.
Yeah,
Charlie Varick, Grumpy Old Men, Odd Couple. All these movies over and over again that he's been in. You're not even anywhere near Roman Polanski's Pirates.
Right. Sea of Love,
Cruising.
Pirates, but I would want to do Pirates because it's such. We always pick the oddball, and
yeah, it's true.
Definitely one of the stranger films of the mid '80s was Roman Polanski's Pirates.
No,
Walter Matthau was a pirate. It exists, people. It exists.
That's true.
I remember having a mild fascination with it at the time when it came out on videotape, but we're not going to go into the full episode about pirates right now, namely because I would have to watch the movie again. I don't remember it. But no, it's episode 101.
Yes.
Talking Pondo. We had our great Talking Pondo with Jessica Stone last week, the episode 100 spectacular, where we talked about a couple
the
more
ever
Christmas
wonderful,
movies.
the ever talented Jessica Stone.
The Violent Christmas Fair episode, because we like to talk about some violent Santa movies every year.
Yeah. I've fallen in love with that genre, and the more the better. And she brought us that crazy one.
Oh yeah, the rare exports. Yeah,
yeah, and it turns out that it's that father son with that same director, and they end up doing Sisu together, and now there's a Sisu 2 coming out. It's insane.
But yeah, we have 2 New Year's movies. I guess as much as a movie can be a New Year's film. We have Sunset Boulevard, and we have the Hudsucker Proxy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
both with scenes that happen on New Year's.
Yeah,
quite a bit. Yep.
So, which one do you want to start with?
Let's do the Hudsucker Proxy. Why not?
Okay.
Get the Coen Brothers going here. Little Deakins, little Coen Brothers.
Yeah.
Sit back and listen to some smooth movie jazz.
So we have one movie that's actually from the 50s and another movie that's pretending to be the 50s because it's a movie set in the 50s. But this movie, what is this movie that I mistakenly remembered as being set in the 30s? Wrong. It's set in 1958. What is the Hudsucker Proxy? Going into 1959.
The Hudsucker Proxy. Okay, so the Hudsucker Proxy, 1994, rated PG, 1 hour, 51 minutes. Here's your log line. A native business graduate is installed as president of a manufacturing company as part of a stock scam. This is a Joel and Ethan Coen classic, written by Joel and Ethan Coen and Sam Raimi. Stars Tim Roberts, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Paul Newman, and a host of others, because that's just what the Coen Brothers do, is they work with top people. Storyline. When wearing Hudsucker, head of hugely successful Hudsucker Industries, commits suicide, his board of directors, led by Sidney Muskberger, comes up with a brilliant plan to make a lot of money. Appoint a moron to run the company. When the stock falls low enough, Sidney and his friends can buy it up for pennies on the dollar, take the company over, and restore it to its high fortunes. They choose idealistic Norville Barnes, who just started in the mailroom. Norville is wacky enough to drive any company to ruin, but soon, tough reporter Amy Archer smells a rat and begins an undercover investigation of Hudsucker Industries. Is that what happens in that movie?
Yeah, now that I've watched it with the closed captions on, I can say yes.
Okay, so Hudsucker Proxy.
That was the log line in the synopsis.
That's the log line in the synopsis.
Okay,
so first off, it starts with a narration.
Yeah.
And all I can hear due to other events that have gone on is old Pondo was a virgin. That's all I can hear.
Oh, well, just all I can say is stay tuned.
Yeah.
On that one.
Okay. All right.
It's funny because, we've had some Peter Deming cross between The Party Animal and some Raimi flicks. This one's a Roger Deakins.
Deakins. Yep.
But he worked with the Coen Brothers quite a bit in their early movies. This is the 5th Coen Brothers film, strangely enough. But that narrator at the beginning,
yeah,
that's Bill Cobbs, and we've seen him a couple times. He was in Demolition Man.
Yep.
And he was also in The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
Yep. It's that voice. You could tell him right away by that voice. It's
he plays Moses in this movie. One of the
he plays
people, the clock service guy.
I think he's Father Time. I think in the well, not the mythology, but in the symbolism of the film. I think he was meant to represent Father Time, and I think that old bald dude is meant to represent death, right? Which is why the two of them are fighting, and why he stops time, and they get into it, and all that type of shit, because he's stopping him from getting his kill.
You're good versus evil.
Yeah. Well, you're kind of classic, like playing chess against death type of thing. You know what I mean? The classic. What is that? Ingmar Bergman. Anyway,
so it's a movie about a guy that goes all the way up, only to fall all the way down and not quite squish himself. Right.
Yep.
And this time, I watching it because to preface, a few years ago, I watched all the Coen Brothers movies and all their etc. films, even Romance and Cigarettes, the John Turturro movie that they helped produce, like everything. It was like 27 movies or some shit.
Wow.
And so going back to this one, you start to see shades of some of their other work. Like, there's a scene where he's getting shaved.
Yeah.
At the barbers, and I'm like, I have a man who wasn't there, but they haven't made that movie yet. How they like to do themes, but really, this one struck me as. Do you remember the movie Crime Wave?
Sure.
It's Sam Raimi's second movie.
Yeah.
And it's the other movie he wrote with the Coen Brothers.
Yeah.
Because after Evil Dead was made, Joel Coen was an assistant editor on Evil Dead, and he was like, well, shit, I can make a movie. And they were like, yeah, you can. And so then they co-wrote Crime Wave with Sam Raimi. And there's even mentions of Hudsucker in that movie.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's got kind of like the feel of this one in a way, but it's just a train wreck because it's a notorious, everything went wrong, over budget,
Sure.
editing taken away from them. And I'm like looking at this now, the Hudsucker Proxy, and thinking, in a way, this is kind of like a response to what happened to them making Crime Wave together. Like, first of all, we're going to redo what we were trying to do here and do it well, and be able to do it the way that we wanted to do it, freely, without interference, right? And we did rise up quickly, but we fell fucking hard with that movie. But we came back fucking strong. Nobody even talks about Crime Wave anymore. You go, Evil Dead 2. Well, there was that other movie in the middle.
No, that's very true. Very true.
It kind of ties into like the Dark Man and all. Like when we were talking about Dark Man and the early Raimi stuff, this one kind of comes right at the tail end of that early vibe of both the Coens and Raimi, of the a lot more quirky movies. But boy, do they do a good job of building a world that doesn't exist, I should say, in this.
Raimi shoots all the second unit stuff in this.
Yeah, I noticed that. Isn't that interesting?
So he's the second unit director, in this. And that second unit stuff is going to be, those montages of everything getting made. That's all second unit. That's all second unit. You can see his style in some of that too. Those friggin' Dutch angles, it seems to match what the Coen Brothers are doing and what Deakins doing too. And I think it looks great, and I mean, what Deakin's shooting is just fucking fantastic to even look at it. It's just the man, especially when playing with the Coen Brothers, who want to do that thing where they like put these weird looking people on camera, flatten the fucking lens, exaggerate the features, get close in, that one where Norval's trapped between those two big ladies and they're talking like this. And have you ever been to the Hamptons? And it's just like, oh my God. Wow. Okay. The film is like a giant frenetic cartoon in a way, like the minute Jennifer Jason Leigh comes on screen, she's a fucking verbal machine gun. She just, and he's just like, holy, absolutely, the captions helped. I put them on. I remembered that and went, I got to put the captions on. But I really admire her. I mean, it's like when we were talking to Deborah Foreman and I asked about My Chauffeur and said, did you, that rapid pace, that kind of thin
That's
man.
Why I thought it was older. Yeah.
It's that thin man sort of 1940s Damon Mall and tough guy type of back and forth, kind of come on, doll, all that type of stuff. And she's just hammering it for, pages and pages of dialogue. There's a scene where she talks nonstop. I think it's early on when she's first kind of charming Norval and he's taking her out and all that shit, where she talks for like 3 or 4 minutes, maybe 5, just not. I'm not even sure she breathes. It's insane. It's just holy mother of God.
This whole movie's full of these crazy set pieces like that. One of the best examples is early on with and you fuck up and they'll dock you.
They'll dock, yeah.
Like they're walking down that long tunnel and it's so absurd and just out there.
Yeah, you punch in at 8:30 every morning, except you punch in at 7:30 following a business day, unless it's a Monday, then you punch in at 8 o'clock. Punch in late and they dock you. You're just like, good God. And that goes on for what, a minute?
Oh yeah, they just really you live in it like it's the
wrong colored voucher and they dock you. Yes. Oh, I love the all the questions when he presents the hula hoop, all those inane questions. What if you tire before it's done? Does it have rules? Can more than one play? What makes you think it's a game? Is it a game? Will it break?
What if you tire before it's done? They throw that one back in again.
Is there a larger model for the Abyss? Is that a boy's model?
It's
Anyway.
all speeches and set pieces.
Yeah, big time. Big time.
And don't look for a whole lot of like deep plot or anything. They're going for just a lot of style and
It's
inspirations from other movies and kind of a
yeah.
blender, you know.
If you know what it feels like? It feels very Preston Sturges.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it feels very Preston Sturges, and I mean, I really adore this movie. I think it's really fun and cool. I also think it's kind of clunky and it's got its problems,
Oh, of course. Yeah, it's still
you know,
early on. Yeah,
but
in their careers.
it's a big swing for them. You know what I mean? And like later on, they would do this again, and it would be called The Big Lebowski.
Yeah, and
And
that was like, was that the no, that they did Fargo after this, then
yeah,
Lebowski. So it
yeah,
was all ramping
yeah,
up to. You
yeah.
notice how they have that dream sequence in this
Uh
one
huh.
with the
Uh
gazelle
huh.
thing, and then
This is what I'm
it
talking about.
mirrors what's coming up in the.
Yeah, yeah.
That
And this
was
is
what
what
was
you were talking
interesting
about.
about
You mentioned
watching all their
earlier.
movies in a row. Yeah, you
Yeah,
see that
yeah.
stuff.
Well, you mentioned earlier you were talking about that those themes that you had seen throughout the films, and I think that's like you said, that's one of them. And it's but again, Lebowski kind of like this didn't do well in the theaters, but found its audience later. I think Hudsucker kind of found its audience. People who like the Coen Brothers in particular like this movie. This is a sharp movie for them, and I think it's just. But only Lebowski kind of pulled it off and did it in a way where
Yeah.
not only found its audience, but it's like Rocky Horror Picture Show where it found a massive audience. You know, critics were completely wrong about it. You know what I mean?
They did a sharper version of themselves,
Mm-hmm.
but that's what most artists do. It seems like, oh, you're doing the same thing over and over again. No, I'm doing a better version. I'm trying to get a sharper rendition.
Yeah, yeah. The H over the snow in the beginning of the film that kind of screams Citizen Kane to me.
I mean,
You
seeing this
know?
in the theater the day it came out,
Yeah.
only knowing it was a movie that Raimi wrote with the Coen Brothers from the back of a Fangoria interview,
Uh-huh.
not
Mm-hmm.
knowing a thing about what the movie is, taking friends to go see it, and then you just get assaulted by that and that big H in the beginning and sitting up in the front row and being a lot more baked than I realized I was, and everybody talking real fast, but yet you still can follow the story. But it, like Lebowski, it rewards upon repeat viewings because once you know the base story, you can start to
Kind of
appreciate
lean
all the
into it. Yeah.
intricacies that make the
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
Much
Agreed.
like Bart and Fink, their film before this, which has a lot of that hallway stuff that they get more to this, that by the time you're getting to Fargo and Lebowski, it seems like it's just this golden time with Deakins they were writing right there.
Yeah, I agree.
Not to mention No Brother, and then
Yeah.
go off into the whole other decade at that point.
Well,
But for the
you can
90s,
really
this is one of their jewels. Yeah.
Yeah, you can really see them kind of playing with space and making things big and small, and again with Deakins and shooting and all that type of stuff. And
They have a thing for weird faces, don't they? Or just
they do,
faces in general.
they really do. And that's what I mentioned earlier. Is like you put these weird faces on camera, that alone, but then you flatten them out with these lenses and you get up close and like the dude who plays the elevator guy,
Oh
right?
yeah.
The
Hey,
first
buddy.
time you
It
meet
reminds
him,
me of that crank caller we used to
hey
hear.
buddy, yeah, the crank caller that we used to hear on the show all the time. Drive poor Jeremy crazy. But
Hey, buddy.
yeah, it reminds me of that guy because the first time you meet him, he sticks his head out the elevator door and right into the camera lens, and it's hey buddy, and his features look so exaggerated. It's almost like a cartoon.
Yeah.
That must-have experience. I love that. One of my favorite sequences is the hula hoop sequence where they put the hula hoops into production and it goes into the store and it gets marked down, and then he throws them out and it rolls down to that one kid, and that one kid figures out I understand what this is, starts doing it, and then all the other kids, which I love, are screaming in a pack and come because they're the lemmings and come rushing down and see him, and they're all just like and the next thing you know, hula hoops are everywhere. And it's that they really nail that. And because everybody growing up at one point has had the must-have experience where you've seen something as a kid where you're like, I absolutely have to have that. And if I have to pester my parents or do whatever I have to do to get it. I need that. I have to have it, whatever it is, and sometimes it's, a piece of candy, and then other times it's, a Walkman or, a TIE Fighter or whatever the hell it is, as a kid that you want. But I felt that like they captured that really well on film.
That scene's really reminiscent of things like the red balloon or even the Tati a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Plastic has its own. It got free, and it's gonna circle that kid like I'm nudging you, and it's like, well, of course a kid's gonna know what to do with this. And that's what it needed to happen. You can't just sit in of course not selling. Nobody knows what it is. Nobody's seen it before. But when that first kid has the contact with it, like he said,
there it is.
For kids.
That's it.
And this isn't the real story of how the hula hoop was invented.
Oh, of course not. It's just a fun. It's a really fun, especially because in the movie at the beginning, and of course there's the circle over the ad, right? You get the coffee stain circle over the ad.
They use the circle a lot. Yeah.
They do. And then later he pulls the circle out of his shoe and shows it to the guy. And it's like, for kids, and everybody is like, this guy's an idiot. And then of course, even Buzz later shows him a circle and it's a straw.
Yeah.
Right. And so the circle is just, it's this kind of brilliant thing where, because every time you look at it, you go, what the hell? And then you realize, oh, it's a straw. Oh, it's a, this. Oh, it's a that. Okay. It's a hula hoop. That makes sense.
You reinvented the wheel, kid.
Yeah. I love it. That's this whole movie. It's, like I said, it's a collection of supporting actors with weird faces.
Odd world building.
Yeah, completely. The steel balls clicking together during that Newman scene adds so much tension to that scene every time, because I think they kind of keep slightly increasing the volume of it too as they clack. And when he screams, "Wait a minute," they just stop. Which is so great. I love that. But the bit after with Newman on the phone and the Bumstead contracts and the single stitch and the double stitch, it goes on and on and on. Where it's like, this is where they're kind of needing to learn. They're still kind of getting it. Because they don't do this in Fargo or they don't do this in The Big Lebowski.
They wean out of it here. It's like the last of the crime wave stuff. But see, those movies aren't co-written by Sam either.
Right.
So you're losing a little bit more of your
Sam's,
Three
This
Stooges.
is kind of like Sam's Three Stooges, Buster Keaton stuff. Exactly.
So when we do eventually get the crime wave at some point, it'll be like, what if Sam Raimi directed the Hudsucker Proxy?
Yeah.
It's like, who handled that type of quirky material a little better? A few years later, they're like, let's redeem ourselves and do it this way instead.
And then the laughing montage is
still
so
put Bruce
weird.
Campbell in there.
That laughing montage is insane.
Oh,
but it's also so Coen that I can't help but kind of love it.
Yeah.
I got gas, Benny. Tell me about it.
It's those, like I'm saying, it's these set pieces like that. We're just gonna have the narration of the two guys at the diner. She is, and they, that stuff seemed to play really well in the theater. I remember Duncan liked it so much he went back and saw it at least one more time. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
And we didn't know what the hell it was going to be. I'm like, well, I know Bruce Campbell's in it somewhere, And then dude from Frasier, he was in Barton Fink, so it makes sense they're carrying over.
Yeah, Dan Mahoney shows up in this thing, and I was just like, hey, it's the dad from Frasier. And he's got that great gravelly voice, and I have to say he's a good foil to Jennifer Jason Leigh, where they're barking at each other and hollering back and forth, and that's a lot of fun. There's a lot of good. Again, you got to kind of watch it goes so fast. You got to watch the subtitles to really catch it and catch the funny stuff at times.
Right.
But she's a machine with that dialogue. The quality of her performance is excellent, and that it's almost annoying, the exaggerated.
Oh, I've known it to drive some people crazy.
Noir, delivery. But there's a point to it. She's trying to be that career lady, hard driven, tough. She's trying to be one of the guys, and be that tough talking, and it's also, I guess, kind of a style of film too, that the Coen Brothers are putting on there. Maybe, I don't know, but it's definitely different than most of the other characters. It seems to be everybody from the paper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Except Bruce Campbell, kind of, he does it, but he talks slower.
Yeah.
But he's still got the same sort of like that city drawl. I don't know. I'm
Smitty.
going on and on about this, but yeah.
So
It's Vic Donato, ladies and gentlemen. Woo!
Oh yeah, blink and you'll miss Peter Gallagher.
That's right.
There's a scene where there's silhouettes and they're trying to figure out what to call the dingus. Well, if you listen closely, you can hear it. That's Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi arguing about what to call it.
Oh, that's great. I love it.
They call it the thing, and no, it's this, and the daddy-o, and all that.
The daddy-o.
Like, oh, it's totally them. And also, they're the silhouettes as well, and also John Cameron is one of the silhouettes who's also their fellow filmmaker who's been working with them since Evil Dead, and he's got some B credits as well. So it's just a way of cramming everybody who's known each other into the film. But if you watch it again, you get to that silhouette part, you'll totally hear both of them, yucking it up right there.
I think Tim Robbins was an excellent choice for this role. He I'm not sure what this is 94. So in 86 or 87, he played Nuke LaLoosh in Bull Durham, and he plays kind of a naive,
87, I think, right?
Yeah, he plays a naive pitcher, right? A young, naive, talented pitcher who kind of has a catcher kind of walk him through, grow him up, basically into a man type of thing, along with the help of this woman. But he plays a good, like a kind of a rube, I guess, or an innocent, or maybe just a naivete quality to his acting that I really thought was effective. His Norval is lovable, but he's just kind of clueless. You know what I mean?
Right.
At least to the machinations of what's going on around him.
I like how he installed plexiglass.
Yeah, plexiglass. Had it installed last week. Yeah. We fade to white with that weird dance sequence.
Yeah.
That fade to white weird dance sequence was really strange. That was really strange.
Echoes of what's to come in Lebowski with the bowling montage and the scissors. And then they don't really do those montages anymore, right? It's just those two movies, I think, have those odd Coen montages, and then they've moved on to
did they
full on musical sequences and Oh Brother?
Yeah, did they do one in Raising Arizona?
Well, that would be before. That's their second movie, so it's just, I feel like those things are relegated to their early work. The odd montage, which is perfected with the Kenny Rogers one and Big Lebowski that just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in. And it's like, okay, we figured out that montage now.
Yeah, there's some interesting montages in this one. The laughing montage being one of them. I quite enjoy the making the hula hoops montage. I think that's really good. And then suddenly it's Buscemi.
Oh yeah, they managed to find a spot for him in the movie. Yeah.
Martinis are for squares, man.
And it's like, wow, this is years before Inside Llewyn Davis. They're already into the beat culture here.
But in the end, its pacing is weird and it's too long.
It's too long.
It's too long. And again, it has those scenes like that Newman scene I talked about where Norval's trying to put the fire out and all that running around and the contracts. It just takes too damn long. And it's just it's that kind of ridiculously long Three Stooges Buster Keaton-esque thing that eventually Raimi would figure out to a certain extent and put into some of his other movies, but it's just not firing right here.
It's all speeches and set pieces. There's not that much story to warrant that long of a movie. I still enjoy it, though.
Chasing him down the street like he's Pondo Sinatra. That's ridiculous. And then suddenly it's magic, right? Like this is the one part of the film where it kind of loses me, is like, okay, now it's magic, and this guy can stop time, and this other dude and him are going to fight over it because they want Norval to die, I guess. And it's like, this is
Well, I
it's
guess it's
just
been magic the whole time, right? Because he's been there. But he's kind of like the Sam Elliott and Lebowski, isn't he? The
yeah. I feel like
the
it's
narrator at the beginning. There was a man for his place, and it was Norville. Wait,
yeah. I
what?
feel like they're kind of both revealed to be
Hmm.
sort of like fairy tales in a way, right?
Hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a moment where the Coen brothers go, well, this isn't really based in reality, you know.
But you
This
could
isn't
figure that
real,
out
really.
from the flipping thing with the
True,
re- you
true,
know job
true.
requirement stuff.
Yeah, but to the element of like,
I know it does take it a little bit further, but it
that's what I
gives it
mean.
that
Yeah.
nice sequence where he can just kind of roll out of the
Hmm.
instead of getting crushed. It's like, no,
Yes.
they can't do this to you. That's what I was saying. It's like it reminds me of the Crime Wave fiasco. Like, no, just go make Evil Dead 2 and get your career going again. It's okay.
I mean, I like it as a device. I just think
But
like
yeah, I know it's part of the
it's
clunkiness.
it's a weird, yeah. It just makes it even, the movie's weird enough as it is already.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoy this one. I think it's a good film.
Which brings us to the fact of why this is a New Year's movie. Haha, see, you thought I was almost done talking about it. But
Oh,
no, we haven't mentioned why this is a New Year's movie. Well, it takes place in well, a large part of it takes place on New Year's Eve towards the end, and that's what the part we're talking about where the clock gets stopped right before the stroke of midnight. So New
word,
Year's
word.
does play uh, a role.
Okay,
And
sure.
so that leads us to our second movie where you can have a really depressing New Year's, the kind that I always like watching depressing movies on Christmas, where if you sync this movie up just in time, you can ring in the new year right after somebody is recovering from trying to kill themselves. What is Sunset Boulevard?
Well, before that, I had one.
Oh, we got to give our ratings for the film. I
We got
forgot.
to give our ratings and sub franchising. I wanted to have a quick quote about sub
Yeah, you're
franchising.
not
Don't talk to
done.
me about sub franchising. We're making so much money in sub franchising, and it isn't even funny. It's one of my favorite lines, throwaway lines from that film.
It is funny because both movies have such discussion about finances and
Yeah,
business that I'm like, I can really relate to it over this last week with all the numbers I've
yeah,
been crunching. So,
same.
well, look, I got a loan to the bank to the loan, and I'm paying off the. Yeah, okay, motherfucker, I
Yeah,
get it.
so I could get this, so I could pay off my life shirt, so I could take out a thing on that. Yeah, okay, fine.
Oh.
Just say no. So yeah, I like this movie. Again, for me, it ends up being too long, but I like what it's doing, and I like how it looks. Um, I think it's kind of a weird early classic for the Coens. I'm gonna go like 3.5 stars,
All
almost
right.
four.
Yeah.
I don't think it's 4 stars, but I think it's up there.
Yeah.
It's really weird and good.
Yeah. I'm going for. I like its swings. I know it
Yeah,
had its
I hear what you're
issues,
saying.
but
Yeah,
it came along at a really good time too. This came out when it's like 19, and it was still in film school, and it was kind of like the perfect thing to come along. Like you can go outside the box, kind
yeah.
of. And
No, I know
it's
what you mean.
it's a trip to think back to these early Coen Brothers movies because we saw Miller's Crossing in the theater when it was new, and that's like their third movie. So it was like they were still like this new kind of thing
I
coming
remember
along.
I remember walking out of Miller's Crossing and being completely blown away by Turturro and by the scene in the woods, the begging scene in the
Oh
woods,
yeah, of course,
and
yeah.
just being like, "What? This was like a gangster movie, but a completely different type of gangster movie I'd
Mhm.
never seen before." And that's when I started really following. And I think that was they'd done Raising Arizona right before or
Yeah,
right after,
right
yeah. And
before.
I had really enjoyed that, and I was like, I'm
Yeah.
going to start watching these guys, and their movie style has always been so weirdly hit or miss. Like, but you
Hmm.
can always tell it's them.
Yeah.
They're one of those filmmakers. They just like you put it on, you go, "That's Coen Brothers." You know.
And to think I went to Miller's Crossing because I knew Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell were hidden somewhere in the movie.
Hmm.
Much like Maniac Cop, but I don't know if we're gonna cover that one. But never say never.
So that does move us to Sunset Boulevard.
We do need more Tom Atkins on the show, so thrill me with Sunset Boulevard.
More Tom Atkins on the show. Okay, Sunset Boulevard. Original title, Sunset Boulevard. Thank you, IMDb. 1950, approved. 1 hour, 50 minutes. No ratings back then, folks. Logline. A screenwriter develops a dangerous relationship with a faded film star determined to make a triumphant return. This is directed by the great Billy Wilder, written by Charles Brackett, Billy Wilder, D.M. Martian Jr., stars William Holden, Gloria Swanson, Eric von Stroheim. Let's see, storyline.
The man you love to hate was the Jim Morrison quote about Eric von Stroheim.
Desperate for cash, screenwriter Joe Gillis has a chance meeting with a faded silent film star. Norma Desmond lives in her crumbling Sunset Boulevard mansion with only her butler to keep her company. She has become a sad, demented recluse, convinced that the outside world is clamoring for her dramatic return. Enticing him with the prospect of script work, she puts him up in her mansion and he becomes even more involved and entangled in her life.
So we talk about like being on the cusp of one decade or the other, and so this is 1950, right on the freaking nose. So in a way, it's still got a lot of 40s elements to it. It's such a trip to look back at this movie and realize that the film business had been going strong for 30 some years at this point, so it could be meta on itself and start churning out movies like this that were not completely cynical, but more of a reflection on, life in Hollywood before anybody even knew what it was to be a star and crash and burn, because they were the first ones to ever do that before movies existed, kind of.
I feel like this movie in particular has echoed out throughout the decades into other movies.
Oh yeah.
It is just one of those movies that people keep referencing or echoing over and over and over. I just see it all the time. And not that that's a bad thing, but this movie did it in a way that was amazing. So that's our second. So both our pictures, by the way, start with narrators.
They do.
Mm-hmm. And this is our second William Holden film.
At least. Or third. Yeah, because we did SOB as well, which has echoes of this film in it.
That's true.
And Stalag.
So two William Holden films that have narration in them that we've done too.
And two Billy Wilder films, because Stalag 17 he'd do 3 years after. And that's now, having watched that one and revisited this, I have more of a feel for that director, and I enjoyed this movie more this time because I kind of knew what to feel from it.
Yeah, good. I saw this on the big screen about 6 months ago, and I had seen it a long time ago, I think in the 90s on a small television at some point. And I wasn't paying attention, I guess, but I went to see it in the theater and was just kind of blown away by it. Like, it's really, especially on a big screen where everything's big and you've got this Gloria Swanson's face, these massive facial pulls that she's pulling off and those big freaking eyes. And she's so intensely insane on screen at that height that you're just like, Jesus, this woman. Like, I remember turning and looking at my wife with just this big smile on my face at her performance, thinking like, she's just going for it. Like, she is just completely going for nuts. And it's awesome. Like, it's just awesome to watch. She's fucking crazy.
So much like I theorized Stalag 17 was responsible for the sex comedy ultimately, because you'd get Animal House after Stalag 17 in a way. There's like that direct line. And you go back to this one and you realize, wow, Billy Wilder helped launch another genre as well. Because Sunset Boulevard is the basis for every Skinamax movie ever made.
Oh, yeah.
The progenitor of what would turn into the erotic thriller. Let's see. You're hooking up with the older woman because she's got the money, and then you hook up with the younger woman, and then you end up dead. How many times have we seen that? So it's very interesting.
That's what I'm talking about.
In a few years' time, it's just genre creation or bending, I'm sure other movies lent to that too, but I feel like since this one echoes so much, and it's not that type of movie, but it helped create that type of movie, I
Yeah.
think.
Well, and look, I mean, Gloria in the film is completely. I mean, she may be crazy, but she also knows how to spin this guy out and keep him strung along. She knows exactly what she's doing when she lets his car get repossessed, when she gets all of his stuff out of his apartment and he doesn't live there anymore. Now he's completely dependent upon her, which is exactly what she wants. You know, she threatens to kill herself, cuts her wrist. She knows, I mean, that's deeply, deeply psychotic, obsessive compulsive fucking uh,
Yeah, we'll
what
get
is it,
Fatal Attraction and stuff
like a
later.
codependent. This is where you get Fatal Attraction. This is where you get The Secretary and these other type of movies, you know, and uh, these, you know, I think they even split into these, like, you know, killer best girlfriend type of movies over, you know, Poison Ivy, shit like that.
I know it's in the
Hand
water
that rocks
thing,
the
but there's
cradle. You know, this, I feel like a lot of this comes from this, and it's such an important film, and fuck if it's not it just looks great. It's so well done. The acting's just fantastic. I love how creepy it is. It's creepy as hell. And I love how they explain, like, he even says at one point, like, the wind would come through the house and it would creep through the pipe organs that were in the house that the dude plays. And so at times in the movie, you just hear the pipe organs groaning, or you hear him playing them. And it's just like this weird gothic, creepy aspect to it at the same time. It's
It's also
fucking
very
great.
funny, though.
Oh, it's
It's
hilarious.
constantly poking fun at the business,
Absolutely.
which is why this pairs well with SOB, with another William Holden, where it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like
I could
he's
see that.
in that movie because he's dude from this movie, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do like how much they poke fun at the business. Jack Webb is in this.
Oh yeah,
You know,
you almost don't recognize him.
hmm I love how the girl talks about being, you know, she was going to be an actress and they didn't like her nose, and so she went and spent $300 to get her nose fixed, and they decided that they didn't like her as an actress.
Right? How many movies are talking about that in 1950?
Yeah,
Just for
exactly.
what it's doing, groundbreaking alone.
hmm
Has the same ending as Menace to Society. I'm a narrator and I'm dead.
Yep. Well, it starts with that great shot of Holden floating dead in the water, and it looks so great. It immediately reminds me of Night of the Hunter in a way. That shot of Shelley in the water, and that
Mm.
iconic shot. Um, it's really great, and I like Betty Schaefer. I like the girl. She's smart. She's pretty. She's
She's
fighting
still
for her
alive.
place.
She is
She's
97.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Isn't that wild? Because I
That's
thought a movie
amazing.
that's 75 years old, I was like, oh, is
Yeah.
anybody still around? No, she's still
No,
here.
she's still here. Wow, that's amazing. Now, wait a minute. If we made it a girls' softball team, put in a few numbers, it might make a nice musical. It happened in the bullpen.
Yeah, that's all my favorite stuff of the movie is that stuff. It's much like when I watched it the first time, I had some of the same issues with it this time. It's much like our other movie. It's a little too long, I think,
It
and it has
is.
a little
I hear
clunkiness
you.
in it.
I
And
hear
this
you.
one, it kind of loses its way about 2/3 in because it's top heavy. That first part is so sharp and so funny and awesome that
Mm.
kind of about, oh, 2/3 in or so, I'm kind of like, okay, we're an hour and 20 minutes in. This should be ending. But instead, we have to go more with him with the young woman, and then the suicide, and then the I'm going to shoot you because you. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, I still enjoy it, but that's the part where I'm kind of like,
Well,
okay, I
you
know
need
you
him.
need it, but
Yeah,
yeah.
you need him to fall in love with the girl, so she shows up and begs him to leave, and he breaks that. And it's the only good thing he does in the whole movie, because he's very selfish. He understands what he's doing to a certain extent,
Hmm.
right? But like when he figures out that she's in love with him and that she's left this guy, and he's like, I'm a piece of shit. This is ridiculous. And kind of spurns her to make her go away, right? So that it's kind of the only worthwhile thing the dude does, you know, because he's taking this old woman's money and every other thing. And then finally at the end, he's like, you know what? All right, I'm gonna leave. Like, I'm gonna, you know,
Right.
take my original clothes and get the fuck out of here. Here's all this shit you gave
It
me.
turns into Bequest at that point.
Yeah.
uh, I looked up everybody's age, the actors, just to kind of get an idea. And
hmm
so uh, she's about Gloria Swanson. she's 18 years older than William Holden, and William Holden is about, I think, 11 years older than the other woman, so he's really right in between
Interesting.
these
Interesting.
different age groups. And it's funny because it's like, I watched this movie maybe a decade ago, and then you get a little older and you watch again, and then it's like, yes, whoever wrote this really understood a lot about life.
Yeah,
Let's put it
very
that
much
way.
so.
And
No,
it's
they
well
really did.
before a lot of movies were doing material like this. I think it's why it sticks around. But also,
Yeah.
like that other one you mentioned, the the Robert Mitchum movie, Night of the Hunter. I
Night of the
feel
Hunter.
like it's been dissolved into the mixture of pop culture for so many years that I
Yes.
do appreciate it, but I'm not like, I liked it more this time, but I'm still
Mhm.
not completely overly wowed. But
Uh-huh.
I really do like that first 2/3 of it a lot. That's the
Yeah.
real sharp, and they're just
Mhm.
going back and
I hear
forth,
you.
and the writing, and then even the early part with her and the script, and then once it starts to turn and like, oh, you're hooking up with her, it's like, well, this is not gonna fucking end well. But I guess we
Well,
got
and
to end the movie somehow.
yeah, and it's
This
it's
isn't going to be
it's
a happy ending, obviously.
it's when he decides to stay, and she's guilted him into having a relationship and staying, and he starts to get more and more bitter, and we it's just that's, I get it, that part can probably start to lag a bit, but to me it's still,
Mm-hmm.
especially on a big screen, it plays so well. It's also shot so well.
The
It looks
HD was better than the ratty DVD I watched. Yeah,
nice. Good, good, good.
this is why cons are important, because people can get secondary income for being a film star or whatnot from 20 or 30 years ago. They didn't have that in the 50s, and so
Mm-mm.
you see what happens.
I love that there's all kinds of lines in this movie, like you mentioned. I am big. It's the pictures that got smaller is one of my favorite lines.
Right. You know right away what her ego is.
Yeah, I
You just
talked
want
to
to
a
tell
couple.
her, calm down. Just calm down. Get this lady a pre-roll or something. She's taking all this way too seriously. And then I
Well,
love, like, as soon as she thinks she's getting her foot back in the door. Now, remember, I don't work before this time or after
I
this. And
love
it's
that
like, oh,
so
the
much.
same
Oh
old
my
shit.
god, I love it.
This is why. This is
Yeah.
why you're not working.
Well, it's
Difficult to work with.
yeah, true, but it's
Because
also
he's like, I'd get 5 cars from somewhere else before we'd rent her car.
but I think it's also like when you start to learn that the butler has her ex-husband,
Yeah.
and B has basically been supporting this. She lives in a world that's not real. She lives in this
Oh,
world where people are still dying for her to come back, and it turns out that it's just him writing these same letters to her to keep her thinking that she's actually still relevant, because relevancy is the only thing that matters to her. Fame is the only thing that matters to her. Being famous is the only thing that matters to her. She talks about, like, I've got $1 million, I've got land, oil. What do you want?
mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. What matters to her is that people want her again.
And yet she's not willing to do the work. I don't work before this time, and I don't work after.
I
It's
hear
like,
you.
oh god, here we go with this diva shit. This
Well,
is
she's
why
still a
we're not
star.
working
She's
with
still a
you.
star. Yeah. Right.
I do like, as soon as they put the light on her, everybody goes right over.
Yes, right over to her. And I'll say this about that scene too. One of the things I really love about that scene more than anything is that they don't treat her like she's some sort of crazy and try to duck her. Cecil B. DeMille's like, no, that woman built Paramount Studios. Like, you treat her with respect. She's, and then even when they put the light on her and people are like, hey, they're happy to see her, which weirdly sort of reinforces this terrible world that she's
Mm-hmm.
living in, this perception of the world that she's living in that isn't real, right? It's great. I also love how they put the words in William Holden's mouth of saying things that, like, women in these movies would have said, and in particular, what right do you have to take me for granted? And I'm just like, oh, I love that he had to say that line, and she's the one that's kind of, the power dynamic is flip-flopped there. I love that.
Yeah.
This is, and look, I'll be crude just for a moment, but this movie is literally in 1950 Hollywood screaming at people don't stick your dick in crazy women. The only thing that can happen is one of you's going to die.
I told you it's the basis for every Skinamax movie ever made. They just took it further to a further extreme. Because you know the moment, it's like, why are you hooking up with her? That's the part where you get to kick in your new year if you time this movie correctly. So now you understand what I'm talking about, a really interesting way to start your year.
True.
You still have a couple days to do it by the time of this release.
There's a moment in the film where he goes from employee to kept man. You know, and it's such a shift, like because you could tell, like because they suddenly do this like transition, this dissolve, and suddenly he's, you know, wearing the cigarette case and the platinum gold lighter and the nice suit and, you know, all this type of thing. And, you know, it's wild. And he begins to chafe at that, which is kind of funny and crazy. But she's a controlling and needy, like it's amazing how much she manipulates him with her money and her fame and her promises and just her insanity. She's fucking insane.
And she's
nuts.
50, he's 32, and she's like 22. Love triangle.
Yeah. Well, and Gloria Swanson was actually, from what I read, Hollywood had given up on her by 1950, and she was working in New York. I mean, she was in the silent films. She'd been working since 1915 or something like that.
Wow.
And so she came back intrigued by the part and took it. And it was probably one of her biggest parts she'll ever do.
And both of these actresses are in that Airport 75 movie, I think, as well.
Yes, they are. Yeah. In fact, I think that's one of the last movies she ever did.
Strangely enough. Then SOB would be the last William Holden movie.
Wow.
So we have to talk about Gordon Cole. Gordon Cole is David Lynch's character on Twin Peaks.
Ah.
Obviously named after the Gordon Cole from Paramount who wanted to rent their car.
Right.
So
wow.
That's a fun little piece of trivia there.
That's one of my favorite things about looking back. Oh, and by the way, the fact that they got Cecil B. DeMille and Buster Keaton and H.B. Warner to be in this thing, it's like, it is a very Eric von Stroheim, you know, it's a very cool, like you said, this very cool Hollywood film that feels very real. It almost feels like a real story about some Hollywood woman who tried to make a comeback and who was crazy and shot her lover, you know.
She's got enough money. She's going to be out of jail very soon.
Sure. But she's also famous now, like she wanted to be. All over again.
It's Natural Born Killers. There's so many movies that come from this.
It's melodrama, but it still fits. The melodrama is organic to the film. She's an over-the-top, washed-up film actress with money and a psychosis. Of course, she's going to be melodramatic.
Yeah, nobody learns
completely
anything.
Works. No, I love that ending. You know, you get that famous "I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille," and you know.
And yeah, I love how she's acting that much different than she does for the most of the movie. So
it's true, but by the end, she's completely like she's not even answering the cop. She's just looking at herself.
Yeah,
and she's only listening to her butler. She's completely gone. It's pushed her over the edge into her own world. Like, you know.
Yeah. What happens a couple of days later when she comes to
at the loony bin?
You know.
Yeah, no telling.
That's when it's like, you use that money. Let me start. What is the line? Now let me start writing my fucking book.
There you go.
Sunset Boulevard 2, Sunset Park. where she then teaches urban kids how to play basketball.
There you go. There you go.
Your true calling.
No, she teaches them how to act, and they all said it. They put on a play about their things that they're overcoming and their feelings, and it gets the attention of the mayor. They start a program.
Wow.
I love how she slowly transforms Holden into what she wants him to be. Like, his resistance is futile. He's desperate, and she knows how to kind of keep him on the hook. Like, if she paid him, he'd go live in his apartment and pay his car off and be demanding to zip back and forth. Right. So she keeps from paying him. She you have clothes, let's go get you clothes. Here's clothes. She even gives him money so he can run to the store to get cigarettes. It's like
which he forgets.
Yeah, which he forgets, but he's totally on the hook for her. It's great.
If he had paid his bills in the first place, none of this would have happened. He wouldn't be running from the credit people and pulling into strange driveways.
Yeah, the only part of the film for me that's kind of weird is this idea that he just pulls up to this ratty old house and parks in their driveway, especially when there's another car in there. But he explains it away pretty quickly, I guess, in the narration, and then they know he's there right away, and they sort of address it. So I feel like while it's like a little bump in the road, it's not a very big one, and it's smoothed over pretty quickly.
It turns out that he actually comes to after the credits, and then he turns to the camera and says, "Well, how else did you think I was narrating this thing? Obviously, I was still alive. See, I was in a state of shock as well after being shot 3 times. And then we all lived happily ever after, because then the studio greenlit her script at that point." It is kind of like SOB, right? Felix Farmer gets shot, and then his movie goes through the freaking roof.
Dear Diary, I met a rich old lady, but it turns out being a kept man isn't what it's cracked up to be. Plus, she won't pay me in cash, just clothing and cigarettes. Gotta go, her creepy-ass husband Butler wants to talk to me. There's nothing tragic about being 50, not unless you try to be 25.
Yes, they even bring up the real age, too.
That is probably the most now statement that I think a lot of people out there could hear. I see a lot of grown-ass women in their 50s trying to be 25, and you need to knock it the fuck off.
And the stigma 75 years ago of being 50, they thought you were real old.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with being 50. No blood in the pool.
I hate to think of how old that makes me, right?
Well, I mean, this
is nothing wrong with being 50. When,
yeah, own your age, man, and stop with the getting your face done, because if you do it, if everybody stops doing it, the directors will just have to deal with women who look like their age, and there's nothing wrong with that. Good Lord.
Commenting on this for 75 years.
Yep. Stars are ageless, aren't they?
This is as old as Francis.
Yeah.
Right. You could have seen both of these movies.
You could have seen a double feature and seen Francis with your kids and then made them sit through Sunset Boulevard where they're like, I don't understand what's going on. Why is he dead? I thought he was dead.
No, he's reincarnated as the donkey, you see.
William Holden is Francis.
Oh, heavenly Francis. That's why the donkey has such a bad attitude.
Oh, man, that's great.
Don't give it to another writer. They'll steal your work. And the readers know all the plots.
Yeah, readers know all the plots. There's just some great dialogue, great back and forth in this film. I really enjoyed it. And I think I don't have any other notes. If you don't, what do you give it?
I think it's the things that I like in Entourage are present in this. People are always like, that shows up, blah blah, but it's that type of stuff.
The commentary on the business.
Yeah, that's what I've always thought was the funniest. Like I said, I like it, but it's top heavy. And if it had been a modern movie that had been top heavy, I would have been all over it, right? For being like, oh, you shit the bed in the third act. But this movie's 75 years old, and it was very breakthrough, and it did a lot of things. So I give it a bit of a nudge for that. So objectively, I would probably say 3, but for me, it's 2.5.
Wow. I'm going to go...
The ending just falls apart, so...
I'm going to go 4. I think the ending falls apart at all. I think it's brilliant. I'm going to go 4.
Like it a lot, but,
no, I see where you come from. But I'm going to go 4, and I'm probably going to reserve during the review to go 4.5 because I think it's brilliant. It's one of those films that's singular. You put it on, and it's doing what it's done. I've watched a lot of noir, and some of them are crap and some of them are really good. And this is one of the really good ones. Well, one of the ones that everybody wants to repeat, wants to do. And it's been referenced over and over again. It's spawned entire, like we've talked about, entire themes of films, you know? So yeah, 4, probably leaning towards 4.5 in the review.
Yeah, that's why I struggled with giving it the 3, you know. But then I was like, well, let's do the old Pondo, talking Pondo objectivity. And there you go. But I did like it more than last time, and probably rewards more on repeat viewings.
Yeah, I for me, that gets better the older I get.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I saw it in the early 90s, and I didn't really think much of it. Saw it 6 months ago, and then I just saw it this week and thought, man, it's still a great watch. It's an easy watch. The dialogue, the story is very easy to listen to. It's very fun to follow, and it looks great. Like, I love that opening scene where we're just following the road down Sunset Boulevard, and then suddenly he's, you know, dead in the pool, and we're right into it, you know. Love it.
Yeah, for a full frame or a 4x3 movie, they make it work.
They do. They really did.
It feels like it's widescreen almost.
Well, what you got for me next week?
Next week, your film next week is Hot Shots.
Woohoo!
Because for reasons.
For reasons.
Yeah. So I already know the movie you're giving me. Yeah.
Yeah, Hot Shots and what was the other one?
Well, it was a movie that was given to us, we could say.
Yes, that's right. They came together.
That's right. That's next time for our first show of 2026.
Tune in, folks. That's going to be a wacky one.
Yeah. We got a lot more guests coming up next season.
That's right.
Smash like, subscribe, share.
Yep. We really appreciate it. The more people that listen, or at least the more people who know about it, you know,
right?
Better for the podcast and the more crazy stuff that we could probably do.
5-star reviews, Apple Podcasts, all that fun stuff.
That's right. All right. Well, let's get out of here, man.
Oh, yeah.
Until next time.
Let's skedaddle out here because Billy Wilder also directed Skidoo.
Did he? He really did. That's hysterical.
Where Groucho Marx takes LSD and plays a character named God. We might have to watch
that. Yeah, we might have to watch that. I can see why. You got a quote you want to get out of here on?
That was last year. This year, I'm trying to earn a living.
Facts, figures, those are the tools of the news trade. Not anymore. All right. Talk to you, buddy. You know, fake news.
You know, for kids.
For kids. All right. Talk to you later.
Thanks.
Don't miss an episode. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, like us on YouTube, or give us a 5-star rating on the podcast app of your choice.